has a power steering reservoir, so it is properly mounted with nuts and bolts to my frame. Then I'm gonna go into my payment arm. What is your payment arm? To move my front tires in the front, so it's properly mounted with nuts and bolts to my steering box, properly mounted with nuts and bolts with the castenet and quarter pin, the safety pin. This is your quarter pin, this is your castenet, properly mounted to my payment arm. Drag link. Drag link is always straight with no illegal welds, cracks or bends, and it's properly mounted with the castenet and quarter pin and my upper 8 arm. And then I have a lower 8 arm on the bottom connected to my tie rod on both sides. Make sure it has a castenet and quarter pin and both sides are connected to my tie rod. She's gonna ask you this question: what is your tie rod for? My tie rod is to move my 2 tires in the front, so any damage to my tie rod, I need to replace it as soon as possible. You want me to mention my ABS hose and ABS cable? She's gonna be like, no, I don't want to hear it no more. What's the depth on this tire? It's a 4/32. If I'm gonna replace a tire in the front, I'm gonna have to replace it both sides. And if I'm gonna replace a brake drum or a brake shoe, I'm gonna have to replace it on both sides. And then I'm gonna go into my B section. My door hinges properly mounted with nuts and bolts. Make sure my door opens and closes properly. I'm gonna go to my mirror mounts, properly mounted with nuts and bolts, adjusted to my driving. Inside the weather strip, no daylight or water leaks. If it has daylight or water leaks, I need to replace my weather strip. That concludes the weather strip in the doors and the front windshield weather strip. Make sure no daylight or water leaks. If it has daylight or water leaks, I need to replace that weather strip as soon as possible. Inside, I have extinguisher. I have 3 marker triangles. The 3 marker triangles, in case I get stranded, I need to put them in the floor. Then I'm gonna check my inside handles, timing handles secured into the cap, secure that to the outside of the cap. Always clean of grease, because that could be very slippery when I'm climbing my vehicle. My battery box is 1214. That's the voltage on the battery box. Make sure they're properly mounted and good working order. I got my primary tank, secondary tank, and service tank. My tank's always clean with water. If you have water inside, I have to clean them every morning so I can wipe the water out of there. I'm gonna go to my steps, properly mounted to my battery box, properly mounted to my tanks, and good working order. And then my bottom step secured, always clean with no grease or shiny marks. That could cause me a slip down, so it's dangerous. I'm gonna go to the dead fuel cap. Make sure it's not leaking. If it was leaking, I see drips on it. I need to replace that dead cap as soon as possible. Then I'm gonna go over here to my diesel cap. My diesel cap is in good working order. We'll make sure the gasket is not leaking. If it was leaking, I need to replace that cap as soon as possible. Then I'm gonna go to my metal straps, rubber straps, holding my tank in place. Make sure it's not making contact. If it was touching contact, that could cause a fire. If I'm having fuel in the back, that could be dangerous. Then I'm gonna go into my drive line, connected with 3 differential juke joints, one in the tranny. Drive line always straight, one here in the catwalk, drive line always straight, and one here in the differential in the bottom. I have my drive line and juke joints always straight with no illegal welds, no cracks, no bends. Then I'm gonna go into my hoses and glass connections of the trailer to install my first trailer. Red emergency, no discoloration of pink or no tapes on it. If not, I need to buy me a new one. Blue is service, no discoloration of tape or baby blue. If not, I need to buy me a new hose. Black one, electrical. That's gonna be in my electrical plug for the first trailer, so I could be able to turn on my lights on the first trailer. Electrical plug here is gonna be black. Service here is gonna be my gland. Red here, emergency gland. Make sure that the seals are not leaking. If they're leaking, I need to replace those seals. I should have extra ones inside the vehicle. If I have extra messed up seals here, I need to replace these seals before I drive. Those are the red emergency, blue is service, and the black one electrical for my connection on my first trailer. Then I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna check my catwalk, always clean of grease, oil, because that could be very slippery when I'm climbing to connect my glands. I'm gonna go to my bottom steps, properly mounted with nuts and bolts to the frame. No leakage on make sure there's no grease on the steps, because that could be very slippery when it's raining. Then I'm gonna go into my spring leaf hanger, properly mounted with nuts and bolts to my spring leaves and shackles. How come your shackle has to be greased? Because I need to grease them so they won't get warmed up on my axle. Then I'm gonna go into my 2 U-bolts. Middle spacer, properly mounted with nuts and bolts to my spring leaves and axle. My axle, in good working order with no illegal walls, always straight, properly mounted. I'm gonna go into my brake shoe, no less than a quarter. My brake landing is the one that adjusted my brake shoe together with my brake drum. Can you have illegal walls on your brake drum? No. Can you have discoloration of blue? No. If I have all those signs, I need to replace it as soon as possible. What's the less can you have on your brake shoe? No less than a quarter of thickness. And if it's less than a quarter, I need to replace it as soon as possible. Splash guard to retain my water, no more than 8 inches from the ground or touching the tire. Mud flat, no more than 8 inches from the ground or touching the tire, and make sure I have a clearance between my mud flat and my landing gear. Make sure I always clear out. And then I'm gonna go back over here. I got a 2-piece rim. In the middle, I got a 4-inch gap with no bottles, nothing obstructing your tires. The reason is that when you're inflating your tires, it can pop in your face if it pops. This tire right here and this tire right here is a 230 seconds recapable. Means that you put an inflated tire and air pressure between 95 and 100 psi not sure. The only thing difference we have here in the middle, I have an axle seal. My axle seal is going to be lubricated with grease. It's going to turn dark brown. If it turns dark brown, I need to certify it through a mechanic because I'm not a certified mechanic, and it's going to be grease. My tail lug nuts are present with no rust through the inside. If they had rust through the inside or shiny marks, I need to tie it up or replace a new lug nut before I drive. Ring cannot have illegal welds. Tire cannot be damaged. And the air pressure on the air valve stem is between 95 and 100. Te va a preguntar, brother, ¿cuántas air valves tiene usted? One in the inside, one in the outside. So there's two together because we have a 2-piece rim. Okay, once again, I'm going to go into my spring leaf hanger. And then I have dual airbags. My dual airbags is for my middle right suspension. So I have my dual airbags with the cross member in the bottom. Make sure they're properly mounted with the bracket mount on top and bracket mount in the bottom. And then I'm going to go to my shock absorber, properly mounted to my axle because I put it in the shock absorber. And my shock no aerable leaks in the middle. If it was leaking, I need to replace that shock as soon as possible. My mud flap, no more than 8 inches from the ground, touching the tire. My DOT stickers for the night. If I don't have lights, those are the identification for the night for CHP. They're red and white. I'm going to go into my turn signals. Right, left, and go working order. What color are they? Red. So the clear ones in the middle, what are they for? Oh, those ones are when I disconnect my trailer, I have to reverse my vehicle. So make sure those ones are clear. And then I got my marker lights, my marker reflectors, properly mounted in the back of the DOT bumper. Then I'm gonna go in back over here. I'm gonna take my header board to retain my cargo. Like I said, my glass are always at a 90-degree angle with no broken seals, and if not, I need to replace my seals. Then I'm gonna go right here in the middle. I got my apron. In between my apron and fifth wheel plate. No daylight. If it has daylight, I need to replace my fifth wheel plate or my apron. Where's your kimping lamp from? My kimping lamp's from my apron, and my locking jaws and fifth wheel coupling is inside my fifth wheel, a lock position. How do you know you have your fifth wheel locked? So my release handle is in. If it was out, then I have to lock in my fifth wheel. Inside safety pin properly mounted to my fifth wheel. Outer safety pin properly mounted to the inside and fifth wheel mount. And then I'm gonna go to my fifth wheel slider. My fifth wheel slider is to even out my cargo or to adjust my weight on the cargo. So make sure my fifth wheel slider, no illegal welds, properly mounted to my fifth wheel plate. My fifth wheel mount is properly mounted to my fifth wheel slider with no illegal welds, and it has nuts and bolts and they're present. I have the teeth right here. Those teeth right here is to move my fifth wheel slider so they could lock in. And this is my release handle. My release handle is on lock position in good working order. How do you move this fifth wheel slider? I have a punctuator hose here. Make sure no edible leaks. And if it leaks out, I need to replace that hose as soon as possible. How do you move your fifth wheel? Inside my vehicle, I have a punctuator so I can slide the fifth wheel slider back and forth. Make sure my slider is always adjusted to the front tire. Okay, then right here, under these hoses right here, are for friction and heat. So then let the cool off. We're gonna let the fifth wheel and apron cool off. So this one's gonna cool off. It's gonna flow air through here and it's gonna cool off your apron. Can you have daylight in between the apron and fifth wheel? No. always grease on the fifth wheel plate, and in good working conditions. And then I'm gonna go into my sidewall. No rivets missing. All my DOT stickers are present. And then I'm gonna go into the landing gear. My landing gear cross members, my landing gear trailer boards, properly mounted to the trailer. And then my landing gear cross members are properly mounted to the trailer and cross members of the landing gear. So my landing gear legs is always greased. My shoe ready to land on the floor. And make sure my lever is always up. Because you're gonna go driving, so if the thing is down, it could cause you an accident. You're gonna get stuck in the railroad track. Then I have high and low for heavier cargos. If they dropped it too low, then you have a higher gear, so I could pick up my cargo, so it won't be heavy when I'm driving. When I pick up my cargo. Right here we have adjustable torque arm. What is your adjustable torque arm here? To align my tires straight, if I look through my mirrors, my tire has to be straight all the time, so I'm gonna adjust it right here. Then I'm gonna go into my brake chambers. C-clamps. I have dual brake chambers. How do you adjust your brake chambers here? By 5 miles of movement, I'm gonna hit my brake, and my push rod shouldn't be more than 1 inch. No edible leaks on the brake chamber. No edible leaks on my manufacturer hoses. And if it leaks out on the hoses, I need to reserve them again before I drive. And then I'm gonna go into my primary, secondary tank. When is the primary and secondary tank for? To connect my doubles and triples. So make sure I clean them every morning. And if we need to add alcohol, we're gonna add it through our red glad hand. So my brakes won't freeze on me when I'm driving already. Okay, sprue leaf hangers properly mounted with 2 U-bolts, middle spacer, and axle. This quarter chassis, no legal welds, cracks, or bends. And then I'm gonna go over here. I got my slack adjuster is always in a 90-degree angle. My push rod no more than 1 inch of play. How do you adjust it? Te voy a preguntar otra vez. I adjust it by 5 miles of movement. I'm gonna hit my brakes, and my push rod shouldn't be more than 1 inch. My mud flap no more than 8 inches from the ground and touching the tire. And then I'm gonna go back to my tire. You only gotta mention 1 tire, so I'm gonna go into my tire. This depth on this tire is a 2/32. Air pressure between 95 and 100 psi max air. And then I could allow put recaps, and I have a hub seal. Lubricate it yourself halfway through this hub seal, and now you can replace it yourself. Then I'm gonna go into my air valve stem, not touching metal to metal, and air pressure is between 95 and 100. All my tail lugners are present with no rust or shiny marks, and if it has rust or shiny marks, I need to tie my rims. My rim cannot have illegal welds, and we're allowed to put recaps in the back. And then I'm gonna go over here with my DOT bumper. The clearance on top, the white sticker you see on top on the door, those are the clearance on the vehicle. This vehicle's trailer right here is not bigger than 13.6. The ID lights you see up on top, those are the clearance on the commercial vehicle. It's a clearance on the DOT bumper. Then I'm gonna go into my DOT bumper. The red and white stickers, it's indicating you for the night you're a commercial vehicle. CHP knows you're a commercial vehicle, so they're gonna slow down. Turn signals, right, left, in good working order. Make sure all my lights are working properly. If not, I could use my 4-ways to make it back home every day. Okay, then I'm gonna go into my pintle hitch. Pintle hitch is properly mounted to connect my doubles. My safety chains, where I'm gonna land my dolly to this chains right here, I'm gonna have to connect my chains and safety chains, and we have to crisscross them. Then I'm gonna go to the red emergency, blue service, and the black one electrical when I install the next trailer. And make sure my DOT bumper is always straight and no legal welds. And then the lady's gonna ask you here, you're done with your test here? My adjustable torque arms to the driver's side. We don't have nothing on the passenger side. My landing gear lever is on the driver's side. We don't have nothing on the passenger side. My release handle is on the driver's side. There's nothing in the passenger side for the fifth wheel. And the muffler is not bigger than 13.6, and this trailer is not bigger than 13.6. And my header board in good working conditions. Bam. Ahí está,